fecal teacup sign, donate dislocation. Again, spill teacup sign, donate dislocation, spill teacup sign, donate dislocation. The donate dislocation. Question 15. Which single feature is more likely to support diagnosis of psoriatic arthritis or rheumatoid arthritis? New bone formation. Feature more likely to support psoriatic arthritis or rheumatoid arthritis, new bone formation. Question 16. MRI of a temporomandibular joint for painful clicking. Which of the following internal to remain in most likely underlying cause? Acutely displaced intra-articular disc. Remember that in the temporomandibular joint, having painful clicking, internal to most likely is anteriorly displaced intra-articular disc. In temporomandibular joint, for painful clicking, most likely internal drainment and anteriorly displaced intra-articular disc. 17 of the following geographic feature is most likely to indicate an aggressive or malignant process. Mild zone of transition. The geographic features most likely to indicate aggressive or malignant process. Mild zone of transition. 18 which of the following MI sequences is the most useful in diagnosis of a for lateral upper lumbar vertebral disc protrusion, axial T2. The MI sequences for lateral upper lumbar vertebral disc protrusion, axial T2. MI sequence for lateral upper lumbar vertebral disc protrusion, axial T2. 19 the presence of punctate ring-like or great calcification in light bone lesion on plain radiograph most commonly associated with visual falling cartilaginous. There is ring and arc calcification. These are all chondrosarcoma. In chondrosarcoma we see chondrosarcoma means cartilage to bone, chondrosarcoma, and there is ring and arc calcification. Chondrosarcoma. So here is in the presence of punctate ring arc or great calcification in light bone lesion, most commonly associated with which volumetric type? Cartilaginous, like chondrosarcoma. Question number 20. Diagnosis chondrosarcoma, and what you see parallel sheets of calcification causing elevation of flat planes, ring and arc calcification rising from iliac blades, pubis, sacrum, distal femur. So ring arc calcification rising from pubis, flat bones, sacrum, and femur. Diagnosis chondrosarcoma. Question number 20. Radiograph of pediatric skeleton, which analyze appendicular findings of poor mineralization of the metaphyseal centers, widening of the growth plate, and cupping, fraying of the metaphyses. All are frequently associated with which contain rickets. Cupping, fraying metaphyses with widening of growth plate seen in rickets. Cupping, fraying metaphyses, widening of growth plate seen is rickets. All rickets. Question number 21. Which of the following cellular findings on plain radiograph not typically associated with achondroplasia, axial instability, not associated with achondroplasia, axial instability, not associated with achondroplasia, axial instability. Question 22. History of right knee pain. MRI shows large anterolateral lobular intra-auricular mass of low signal on T1 and T2 where images and blooming artifacts seen on gradient echo sequences. Most likely condition pigmented with nodular synovitis. Meaning that blooming artifact is seen in pigmented with nodular synovitis. Blooming artifact is seen in PVNS, pigmented with nodular synovitis. Question 23. Radiograph of the hand. So multiple lytic lesions in the medullary cavities of the tubular bones with cortical expansion and matrix mineralization and associated midline deformity, most likely diagnosed Ollier disease. The PVNS. Okay, this is a knee joint, but this is also an ankle joint. In ankle joint, there's you see this. There is intra-articular mass of low signal on T1 and T2W with blooming artifact diagnosed pigmented with nodular synovitis. Again, soft tissue lesion noted mainly at the anterior medial aspect of ankle with erosion of underlying cardiac bones, low signal on T1, T2, PVNS, pigmented with nodular synovitis. Again, illustration of pigmented with nodular synovitis, PVNS, low signal on both T1, T2. Again, PVNS, low signal on both T1, T2. Sorry, this is PVNS, posterior. In the posterior intra-articular recess, PVNS, low signal on T1, T2. Question number 23. Multiple lytic lesions in the hand and the medullary cavity of tubular bones with cortical expansion and multiple lytic lesions in the medullary cavity of tubular bones with cortical expansion and matrix mineralization. Diagnose all your disease. Epilepsy calcification, soft tissue calcification, then is Maffucci syndrome. Maffucci. Question number 24. Preosteal reaction most likely to indicate benign process, soap bubble. Preosteal reaction most likely to indicate benign process, soap bubble. Question number 25. Patient has osteomalacia. Which feature is most likely to support diagnosis of diffuse idiopathic skeletal hyperostosis rather than ankylosing spondylitis, sprain of the sacral iliac joint? Osteomalacia. Which feature is most likely to support diagnosis of diffuse idiopathic skeletal hyperostosis rather than ankylosing spondylitis, sprain of the iliac joint? Which features suggest diagnosis of diffuse idiopathic skeletal hyperostosis rather than ankylosing spondylitis, sprain of the sacral iliac joint? Question number 26. Lumbar spine MRI with anterior spinal soft tissue mass. Tuberculosis, 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 tuberculosis. Lumbar spine MRI shows anterior spinal soft tissue mass level L1 to L3, centered at the L2 L3 vertebral disc. It is located deep to and displays the anterior longitudinal ligament and extends into the left psoas muscle. Extends into the left psoas muscle. Extends the psoas muscle. Most likely organism, tuberculosis. Question number 27. Osteoporosis circumflecta, well-defined geographic lytic lesions in the skull represent early stages of which disease? Pecos disease. Okay, these are the Pecos disease of the pelvis, but skull. So osteoporosis circumscripta, well-defined geographic lytic lesions in the skull represent early stages of which condition? Pecos disease. Question number 28. Central anterior beak of the vertebral body is most likely to suggest which of the following condition? Marquis syndrome. Central anterior beak of the vertebral body is most likely to suggest which of the following conditions? Marquis syndrome. Anterior inferior beaking is seen in anterior inferior beaking is seen in mucopolysaccharidosis, I think. But central beaking of a vertebral body is seen in Marquis syndrome. Then 29. Other than displacement, which MRI finding is most specific indicator of an unstable osteochondral fracture underlying linear high signal on T2W images? Other than displacement, which MRI feature most specific indicator of an unstable osteochondral fracture underlying high signal intensity on T2 weighted images? Because underlying high signal on T2 weighted images means there's edema or there's fluid, so it shows an unstable osteochondral fragment. Because there's linear high signal fluid, so there will be unstable fragment. Question 30. The scan shows polka dot appearance, most likely disorder affecting vertebra, hemangioma. Polka dot appearance seen in hemangioma. Polka dot appearance is seen in hemangioma. Question number 31. Which single feature is most likely to suggest a diagnosis of psoriatic arthritis or ankylosing spondylitis, parasyndrome side? P for psoriatic arthritis, P for parasyndrome side. Psoriatic arthritis has parasyndrome side or ankylosing spondylitis. Psoriatic arthritis has parasyndrome side. Question number 32. अच्छा अभी बंद होगा और AP and lateral radiograph of the mid forearm reveal a fracture of the middle third of radius. Which adrenal radiograph should be performed? Wrist. Fracture of the middle third of the radius on AP and lateral radiograph. Which adrenal radiograph should be performed? Wrist.